Hey guys, Macca here from Melee.co, and this is lesson number 3 with Coach Quetz, where he is teaching me how to become a better Peach player. In this lesson, we look at the Falcon matchup, which for me is one of the matchups I play the most often because there's 3 Captain Falcons in my region, which only has like 12 people or something like that, and the better players are all Captain Falcons. And so this is something that I experience a lot, and so we look at my matches, but really we focus on edge guarding, and we spend a lot of time on the different ways to edge guard Falcon based on his different recovery options. We then talk about the neutral game, like staying on top of Falcon, as well as these mid-height float nairs, which we get into, and then we talk about some practice at the end as well as not getting grabbed. So here is lesson number 3 with Coach Quetz. Hey.
Hey. How you been?
Yeah, good. How about you?
Yeah, good.
You don't have a webcam yet, do you?
No, I haven't. I have yet to get that. I really want to because I've been streaming a bit, but I've kind of been streaming in obscurity without it. So,
What is your stream? What are you streaming off now? I'll have to follow you.
At the moment, I'm streaming off a shared channel that I share with like a few other people. It's called Games in a Vat. It's kind of based off our team name called Brains in a Vat.
Okay.
So it's Games in a Vat. I stream just random games plus Melee. That was the stream that we were doing the.
Yeah, that was last week. We were doing that one.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing that one day. But also, a few weeks back, we were doing the Smash class with like new players in the Perth scene, where we would just invite them over and teach them basic stuff. And we're probably going to get back into that soon. But yeah, that's the channel we were doing it on. But it's still in baby mode at the moment.
Yeah, I did my first like personal stream the other day. Yesterday, just for like an hour, just for fun.
Yeah.
It was good fun. I had one guy in there who was like chatting. Makes such a big difference when there's someone in chat.
Yeah, and also like even if there's no one in the chat, sometimes it's just good to vocalize what your thoughts are at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited about today because it's Captain Falcon, and I've watched your videos.
Sweet.
There's 3 Falcons in our PR, so I'm pretty used to the matchup. But I've never really felt like I've adequately got the matchup down pat or anything like that. But there are definitely some ideas that I have that have helped me a lot in the matchup.
Yeah.
That I think are really easy to do and will just make it so much easier for you. There's a lot of good content, so I'm going to throw the content at you first so that you have something to like look over every now and then. Okay. This is like almost like the holy grail of Falcon versus Peach. It is, if you go to, just find it on YouTube and give you the link in the Discord chat so that you can always find it again. Ever need some inspiration or anything like that?
So what is it? What are we looking at? What are we going to be looking at?
This is just something for you to look at later, because I probably won't be able to like pick out something exactly from here.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
I followed your Games in a Vat, so now I'll get notified when you go live.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so here is a link. This is about 50 games of Armada versus Gravy, the Falcon player. It's all in a big playlist. Okay. And don't get the timestamp on it for you. It says 2012, but it's not 2012. It was only sometime last year
Yeah.
We checked that with Gravy. The inner circle of Peach players. I had them check because I was like, "This is really good content," and they were like, "Nah, Gravy's not this bad." And I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure this looks like Armada how he plays currently." And so one of them knows Gravy and asked him, and he said, "No, that was me getting bodied by Armada earlier this year." So,
So is this like a bunch of different tournament sets or just friendlies or something?
This is friendlies when Gravy hosted Armada at his house. They
Yeah.
play a lot of friendlies, and these are the matches. So
Okay.
it's definitely worth just like flicking through by stage. If you're thinking about Punishers on FD, then just have a look at all the FD games. If you're looking at Battlefield, then just find all the Battlefield games and have a look through it that way.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion anyway. There's a lot of because Armada bodies Gravy so hard in these sets. It's very easy to see recurring patterns coming over and over again, like the same combos, the same edge guards. So it's almost drilling it in. It's almost like watching Armada versus a level 1 Fox kind of thing.
Don't tell Gravy that.
yeah. But it's that kind of like you get to see the flowchart repeatedly in this matchup. So. I always think the best way to approach a matchup first is to start with how you're going to edge guard them, because there's usually like the biggest dramatic shift you'll get in your gameplay, and you're actually pretty good at doing it already. You've got kind of the right idea. I don't know whether or not you've worked that out independently or whether you've seen someone else do it before and you're copying how.
I think most of it's through trial and error. So, like, I learned that Falcon can't sweet spot with his up B. So, originally I was like punishing it with turnip and then turnip and turnip, and eventually they just like get back. And then I would change to like nair, and then I tried dare, and like a mixture of those sorts of things. And I'm starting to get better at like knowing the drift, like predicting the drift or covering. Maybe I'm covering more options or something like that, but.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all like trial and error. It's not really, I haven't really seen anything and been like, okay, that's how to do it.
Yeah. So as you're probably aware, because I watched your own analysis of your matchup against Thriles.
Yeah.
There are some situations, okay, so there's, when Falcon, so let's just get straight into the meat of Falcon's recovery. When Falcon is recovering, it comes pretty much in about 3 different forms. The recovery that comes from below the stage, the recovery that comes at about the stage height, and then the recovery that comes high.
Yeah.
Now, just thinking about FD for a moment, or flat stage with no platform, the high, so the mid option, because the mid option is the easiest to cover, the mid option will always be to float at the off the stage. You do this already perfectly, so you this is probably the thing that you're not going to have to adapt to much. You just do as planned. Okay. Where you float just off the edge of the stage, completely blocking off the ledge, yeah. And then as you see them approach, you just nair. Now there is
this is when they're about level with the stage, but they have to up B.
Yeah. So there's no chance of them to like tech this from underneath. They're going to have to go straight into you, and they're just going to eat the hit.
Yeah, this is the one I love, because Thriles, who I play against, is really good at like smash DI teching everything I do.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So with this one, you're already doing what you're doing, but there is one way to kind of expand on this a little bit more. And what you can do is you can deliberately do a early nair as he's recovering, so that you get the soft hit, and then you move forward and combo it into a strong nair. So instead of just getting a 1-hit nair, you get a double hit nair instead. Okay. And it all, like, if in my experience, it almost always works. Like they are. Falcons will always do a form of survival DI, and even if they don't, the hit is so weak that you can usually combo it into each other regardless of how they connect.
So you just continue the float, right? So you do it early, you get the weak hit, and then you just drift out a little bit and do the second nair.
It should be very obvious or like comfortable to do. It's not like an awkward technique or anything like that. You can even do like nair forward air if you wanted to. But basically, an extension of this edge guard is that you can do the nair early to get some additional damage, about 8 extra damage, which makes it a lot more so that you don't have to do as many repetitions of this over and over again to get
and
the
then
edge
as
guard.
well, if you do get the drift out, the second hit, they're further away from the stage as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, definitely. So that's one thing. Of course, in the whole process of all this, you are free to be throwing turnips at him to try and like make it even more of a miserable for him to try and get back on. But of course, you want to, if you're already at the edge, you don't want to continue throwing turnips once it's reached a certain point because you have better options for this kind of thing. One thing that you can do is with just on the let's go to the high recovery actually, because that's pretty much all I have to say about the mid recovery. You're just going to sit at the edge and nair, and then you can expand on that with double nair. Coming from high, so the first thing that Falcon tends to do is that he might Falcon kick.
Yeah.
You can actually try and snipe this with a turnip.
Yeah.
And you'll probably, if you ever go back and watch Armada try and edge guard Falcons, the first attempt he'll make at the edge guard when they're coming from high is to try and throw the turnip at the end of the down B where he thinks that they're going to end up. So have a crack at that. It's pretty hard to do, but of course it's one of the better places to try and connect because you kind of know where they're going to be going. And most
you know
Falcons
where the down B is going to end. Is that why?
Yeah. So have a easy shot at it. Just throw it out there, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, like don't commit and like throw the turnip and then float out as well. You don't really need to do that because once the turnip connects, it's probably going to put him in that mid height position, which you can just do the nair edge guard.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they go high, the hardest thing to control yourself against Falcon with is to not be. It's almost like a game of chicken when he's coming down with the up B. So he's upbeat high and he's falling down from a high angle and he's going to weave to the edge or he's going to land on the stage and you're not really quite sure what to do.
He's got that crazy drift ability.
Yeah, absolutely. So the key here and what I've had the most success with is to not panic and always still cover the edge. And not let them fake you out on it. So what happens is, say Falcon's going to go high, but he has the option of about has the edge and about.
Hold on, I got this gravy one playing, and it's literally happening as you're talking.
Okay, do you know the game and the time?
Yeah, I'm going to share it with you. I'll share it with the timestamp too.
Yeah.
Oh, it won't let me timestamp, but I should be able to share it. Should we do that watch together thing?
Yeah, I've got it up, so I'll quickly create it.
So is that like about 45 seconds it happens? And literally, like, Gravy does like a fake out. Armada gets one, and then he does another one, and he fakes it out. And like makes it back.
Okay, let's have a look.
Send me through the watch together link when you get it.
Let's watch together link. Has it started on yours?
Yeah.
All right, so it was at about 40 minutes, you said?
This
40
is
seconds,
the wrong
right?
level. This is the first, because it's in that massive playlist.
Oh, right, okay.
I can find the individual video if you want.
Yeah. What's number 43, it says?
Here, I've got the link. I'll try and add it in. Alright, I'm adding it to the playlist.
Okay.
Oh crap!
Oh, Sundry.
I added them a few times. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, yeah. So it's this one about like 45 seconds. I'll move it. All right.
Okay.
So he gets it back here.
He got psyched out twice. Okay. So
Hold on, wait.
Amada has improved in this matchup, but this is a really good example of what can happen.
That one.
Does something happen soon?
Just then, like he does the fake out there.
Yeah. This is a good example of what you're trying to avoid and what Falcon can do. I'm mentioning a flat stage first because the platforms are obviously complicating it. Amada is getting tricked by the platforms.
Yeah.
So imagining the flat stage, let's say he had about the same amount of room to move. So his furthest that he could get onto the stage if he had held hard right the entire time would be about, a roll length onto the stage maybe, or a bit shorter.
Yeah.
So the trick is that you cover the edge. You really become adamant about staying on the edge, regardless of the fact that they're flying right over you.
Yeah.
Because the moment that you give up the edge, they'll go to the edge. They'll see that kind of hesitation. So you always want to be threatening, but you're threatening, but you're also like expecting them to not go for it in a way. It's kind of just like for show. Yeah. So what you then do is the moment. It's all about trusting in the landing lag of Falcons up B. So you wait, and then just as it gets to that point where it crosses a threshold of him really not being able to weave anymore, you can then just float backwards and near him back off the stage. If you really feel like you're pressed.
What do you mean float backwards? Because are you facing the ledge? Oh, because you're facing the ledge?
Yeah. So you're floating in kind of a position where you would normally for doing the mid-height Falcon edge guard.
Yeah.
But Falcon is recovering over your head. So when he's gotten to a point where he really could not possibly weave back anymore and he's landing, or even on reaction to him just about to land, you can float backwards and then near him back off. So you float backwards through him and then near him back off.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're saying.
The alternative is that you can drop float. You could even just do a float cancelled aerial just to get you back onto the ground without hitting him with it, and then down smash him back off, so that you didn't have to try and get back behind him. So you have two options. One's like the down smash is faster than the other, but the down smash could be crouch cancelled, I guess, if they wanted to. It's kind of like the same as Sheik. It's very similar to the Sheik kind of flow chart. You'll probably see that in more recent videos of with Armada, he does this kind of edge guard where he'll wait for them to land and then move through them and knock them back off. Yeah. It's kind of like
I do see that with Peach, where you do that like the insta float and you go through them and you get like a reverse nair.
Mm-hmm. With Peach. That's kind of the beginning of this kind of edge guard, and it's a way to prevent you getting weaved all the time. Now there's other that's kind of like the basics of where you would want to start with the high recovery. Of course, if you know they're going to recover high, you probably want to use more turnips. So you try and snipe their down B if they use it, and if they don't, then or if you miss, then you want to keep pulling turnips and start throwing them upwards, because Falcon is very easy to hit with an upwards thrown turnip sometimes when he's trying to get over you. If you see that the turnip is going to connect as he's coming down over you, then you can actually combo it into a nair. Like you kind of jump forward where it's going to hit him forward off the stage, and you can nair him out of that as well.
Okay, yeah.
So keep the pressure on him when he's going over your head by throwing the turnips up. But if that misses as well, get ready to start positioning yourself for the edge guard. You'll probably see when you
like we previously talked about, where you like cover the ledge but then go in. Can I ask, what is the landing lag for Falcons up B that you have enough time to go through them in there?
I believe it's It's either 20 or 30. Both numbers are popping into my head. I think Sheik's is 30 and Falcon's is 20 frames of landing lag. It's one or the other.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
So it is quite a lot, yeah. I know. I'm pretty sure Sheik's is 30 because I know it feels like hers is laggier
Longer.
and you have more time.
Yeah.
But both of them are not that great. And if you're already floating, it doesn't take long for you to float a few frames backwards and then do a 3-frame attack to hit them back off. So yeah, you're pretty all right with timing there.
Okay, cool.
And just from my experience, I find that it works pretty soundly. Sometimes the only time I really mess it up is when I get when I'm not alert enough. Really, like I'm not. There's only a small time window, and if you're being a bit lazy about it, then you're not going to have enough time to punish it.
Yeah, if your
quickly
reaction's
enough.
a bit slow, then they can buffer roll or shield or get out of the way.
Typically, it's shield. Yeah, typically it's shield.
Yeah.
So I guess if you feel like you're going slow, you might be able to grab, but I wouldn't recommend it. Falcon tends to like if he is ready for the hit, he's always going to DI it well, and he doesn't really go anywhere from being hit.
Yeah.
Like most of the time.
So heavy
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I know. So I reckon the next one is just a quick overview. This next one is probably the one that can be a bit trickier than it should be.
The
Is
low
when
recovery?
he
This one?
underneath. Yeah. You'll probably see a variety of ways that Armada deals with this. So having a look through all the videos would probably be a great way to get some ideas, because I have a feeling this is probably Armada's best way of edge guarding. Like he usually gets this one pretty good. The first thing he does is the endless supply of turnips. This is typically starts from when he began the edge guard with the turnip somehow. Like maybe he hit them off stage, put a turnip, ran and threw it.
Yeah.
And then he can't risk giving up his position anymore because his pitch is too slow to get in position. So he has to just stand his ground and keep throwing turnips. This happens with Marth as well sometimes. It doesn't happen as often, but sometimes with Marth, you'll snipe him with a turnip from a while, like half the stage away, but then you can't get across the stage in time to continue the edge guard. You actually just have to keep pulling turnips and trying to snipe him repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's the similar thing with Falcon, but it's like way easier to do because he can't actually avoid them if you're timing it correctly. He can make it difficult for you by changing the up B timing, but usually they're stuck in a game of like survival. Like they're more scared of surviving than trying to DI correctly or up B properly and stuff like that. So they typically tend to set themselves up for a bad position over and over. But you'll see in the videos that Armada basically gets to just sit there and throw the turnips repeatedly. I feel like
they can smash DI this though, right? And then
they can, but if you think about so when you do a down air, for example, safety in them smash DIing it, because if they make some sort of slip up with their way that they're DIing, they're stuck in a multi-hit move. They get a few opportunities at doing the smash DI, blah, blah, blah. If you're smash DIing a turnip, it's only one hit. You're going to have to be pretty quick at doing the inputs. And then if you do the inputs too early, if you do them too late, if you C-stick more than once by accident, if you're trying to put ASDI in there as well, you might accidentally flub, your positioning is all off. There's all these things that go wrong because there's only one hit. And so most people are probably not likely to do a very good job of it or put themselves at greater risk. And so it makes it less appealing to try and do something like that. Okay. What ends up happening from what I've seen with Armada is that he repeatedly throws the turnip over and over again. For some reason, he seems to preference a standard turnip throw. I don't quite. I've got some theories about why he does this. I think the first one is that a standard turnip throw is slow, so it covers that area for more frames.
Yeah, I actually found.
So,
are you on the watch together?
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Just so we can see it, because he just does it here in a sec.
Yeah, so he can't give up position. He can't get there fast enough, so he has to commit to this edge guard. And then once he's realized that he has enough time, he's pushed him far enough back, he can do the reverse turnip throw around to grab the edge. Or in some case, he might just jump off the stage and hit them as well.
And yeah, I've seen him do it as well, where he will re-grab a turnip and throw it down and get him that way.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
I think that's more of a style choice. I'm not sure if that's really like, optimal or anything. It's just at that point they're probably just done for, and he can basically do anything he wants to them.
Yeah, and does he wait until the percentage is high enough that he has more time because the knockback's higher? Is that what he's waiting for?
As in like, let's just bring it up again. So in this case, he smashed through the turnip just out of necessity because the regular throw would reach. But yeah, once he's waiting until the knockback is strong enough that they can't, like he has time to get in. Like that last one was actually a winking turnip.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that like a winky?
Yeah, and this is a great thing about this edge guard as well, is that because it's like, it's a protracted edge guard, so the chances of you pulling out a turnip, even if it takes you like 10 turnips, it's like, well, that was 10 attempts at good turnips, and usually the edge guard ends when you get a winky or a dot eyes or something like that, or even a stitch face.
So what were you saying about the theory as to why he just standard throws rather than like a smash throw or a reverse throw?
So I think it has a lot to do with where the edge guard began, and also that the regular throw is better at covering the number of frames of vulnerability frames that Falcon has during his up B.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think the arc of it, when you do a standard throw, because it's more of a loopy arc, just covers that better than if you were to smash throw it?
I think not only that, but I also think that because the hit is weaker as well, that it can be harder to tech because it's not putting you into a tumble state. And I think that's why like the edge guard is strong in general. Is probably because the lack of tumble state that the turnip is putting you into makes it so they can't even tech this at all. But as the percent goes high, the tech option does become a thing. But at this point, when the percentage does become high, they're going to be like, you're going to see that it start pushing them back at that point. And then by that point, you don't actually have to use the turnips anymore. You can move in with Nair, or you can grab the edge like Armada did.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a really fun way to edge guard Falcon, and it's safe as well. If Armada messed up, then he didn't really lose anything. Like he can't get. It's not like a Falcon can jump from the edge and knee him at that position if he grabbed the edge. Yeah. So it's very risk free for him to do this type of edge guard. So it's probably one that I would be on the lookout, and even just practice it. Even though it might not be optimal at some point, just kind of go for it anyway. When he's recovering low, just to see how good your timing is, and just to practice it and things like that, because. It doesn't. There's sometimes you'll find that there's better options, but that one will still challenge the opponent to see whether or not they can deal with it properly.
Yeah, and it's such a good one to have when like you can't get to the edge. If you know that you can do that consistently, then you've got an edge guard even when you're in the middle of the stage, basically.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what like that. I'm so glad that you're somehow managing to find like exact. Examples of what I'm talking about inside these videos. I haven't watched them in ages, but
I'm just kind of like letting it play in the background and not really watching it while we're talking. But then every now and then it comes up.
Hopefully by osmosis, you you pick up on the ideas. No, it's really good. It's a really good sequence. There's a lot of big combos in there as well that you get excited about. The other things you'll see is. That Armada will. Okay, so the up B when you're already at the edge. So you in the video, like you saw, Thriles is really good at teching it. You'll probably see in these videos as well that Gravy will tech some of them as well.
Yeah.
When Armada tries to go for the Nair. The thing you have to look out for, which Thriles wasn't doing for some reason. Thriles allowed himself to drop back low again, and then he up B to try and semi-sweet spot the edge over and over again. Whereas most Falcons tend to up B immediately after they've teched and try and grab you while you're close to the edge.
Okay.
And
sometimes he will wall jump. up B.
Okay, yeah,
Depending on the
that's
stage.
so if they do like just not the wall jump, they just do the regular tech,
Yeah.
then the up B grab it can get you if you're not careful. If they're doing the other version, where they jump off the edge, it's probably because he's up being so close. This is a rare occasion where you can actually try and intercept in midair rather than waiting for him to wait.
Yeah.
Because the way that Falcon's up B works is that around the apex of his up B, he has very little air control. Like he kind of just stalls in the air for a moment. So it's very predictable about where he's going to go.
Yeah.
So if you see
Do you mean
the
like
moment
he
you
can't
see,
drift?
yeah, he can't drift. He's kind of like stuck. So at that point, you can actually go up and meet him. If you see the wall tech, you can just double jump or regular jump or go onto a platform or whatever and try and meet him there.
Yeah.
And where the apex of his up B is going to be, and then just hit him out of that. You can do the double nair, you can fair him, you can do whatever you want. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's something. If he starts doing that wall tech, you can meet his up B early. But I would. I would stick to the nair. The nair is still good. Don't let the text think that the nair is bad. The nair is still good because it's challenging. They have to work for it. Make them work for it. Don't let them go, oh, well, they're going to tech anyway. May as well just let them get on. Because they're still not in any advantageous position. You can repeatedly nair them every time that they're trying to do this. And if you recognize that they do the wall tech into the up B early, then you can simply just move back and then move back in again to like you can dash away and then dash back in and then continue the nair. You could wave dash back or whatever, or you could just quickly nair again, and I think that works too. But most of the time, you'll see it connect and then thing. I would avoid grabbing the edge against Falcon for the moment, and trying to just edge hog him. You never really, if you're on point, you never really have to edge guard Falcon. It's just kind of like there's definitely moments where you're like, well, there's no point going any further because he clearly can't make it back onto the stage.
Yeah.
Like in the example against Armada. But if Falcon is coming in from a distance and you're making a judgment call, it's probably not a good idea to make a judgment call because you can be surprised.
I often make the wrong one, and I think they won't make it, and then they like just make it on, and then they've got stage control, and then I'm on the ledge. And as you know, like exactly. Peach's ledge options aren't very good.
That's why it's not really a good idea. But also, it's a good practice for you to keep trying the edge guard, even in situations where you probably could have just grabbed the edge. But why grab the edge when you have a fail-safe edge guard? As long as you execute it correctly, you should be fine.
Yeah.
So if Falcon's coming in from a distance, still hold the edge, like still float at the edge. And if he just makes it back on the stage, you can float back a little bit and nair him again. If he was never going to make it anyway, you're still in position to just nair him back off and repeat.
Yeah.
But anyway, back on the recovery from underneath. Down air is still a good option because down air can't be teched. It pulls them up into you to follow up with the nair. Now, to answer the inevitable question of what about smash DI, again, like the tech of the nair, you still want them to work for it. Like, again, don't get too caught up in the thought that just because they can, it doesn't mean that they're always going to or they're always going to do it well. But also, you can still counterplay that by moving. You can move in your float, of course, so you can still move with them wherever they prefer to smash DI. The smash DI is hard.
I think the fact is, Thralls is probably the only person I've ever played against that can actually do this. He just so happens to be the person I play against the most.
Yeah, that does suck because it means you don't. You might not have like a clean kind of ramp into this kind of adapting.
Yeah.
Because they've already adapted before you've really got to have a good go at it.
Yeah.
But you're just going to have to deal with that.
So with the dare, I feel like when I do it, I'm probably off the stage doing the dare. But I should be slightly on the stage, shouldn't I? You should
be slightly on the stage.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to float cancel it at any point if it messes up.
Okay.
It's very easy to forget that float cancelling is still an option when you're daring, and that if something goes wrong, you can quickly abort the down air and then roll away because the knee is coming if you've missed and he's grabbed the edge. You want to be quickly go, oh, no, better shield, better knee. Better shield.
Yeah.
Better shield or roll away or something like that. Because if you mess up, that's going to happen. The knee is the first thing they're going to go for most of the time. So when you do the dare, you should your thumb should have relaxed back into a neutral position where it's ready to go left and right to move with the opponent.
Okay.
You just want to move to where they're DI. If they're really, really good at smash DIing, then you can just move into where they do it. If they smash DI in always the same direction, then you can only takes one attempt to work that out, or even a case of just going back and watching a video that you've seen.
Yeah.
I don't really not condone, but I don't really suggest trying to beat people by learning their habits out on a video and then going back and being like, okay, they usually do this and usually do that, because if they stop doing that, then obviously your strategy is not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
It's better to just learn options that cover everything anyway, so that you're more prepared for all falcons rather than just one falcon. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
So keep doing the down air and then try and just follow them with the down air. That's basically the counterplay, is to just follow them.
So you got to follow them and then you finish it off with the nair.
Mm-hmm, yeah. This isn't going to be a case of like suddenly flying out off the stage with down air. It's probably going to just be the slightest little micro adjustment of moving forward very slightly to catch them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the only way that they're still going to be able to get back on, if they're DIing away, is that they still have to up B at some point, which has start lag, and you can still hit them out of that. And has end lag, so if you miss, if you don't follow it up, they still have to get back onto the stage somehow.
Yeah.
And if they're going,
if I do the drift, their only option is to smash DI out and fall down, isn't it?
Yeah, they have to fall down, which puts you back in the advantage. Like you can just edge guard that as well.
Yeah.
You could make them do it over and over again if you wanted to, but you probably wouldn't end up doing it. You probably just switch back to a nair edge guard or something like that.
Yeah.
If they're trying to DI into you and onto the stage, I honestly, from my experience, I've almost never seen this done well or properly. Maybe it's just the Falcons in my region are just bad at it.
Yeah.
But DIing onto the stage, because there's just so many inputs you have to get from under the stage, coming up from an up B to DIing 4 hits to get onto the stage. That's quite a feat. So if they somehow were able to do that, you would see this happening, as you would see the progress of them getting onto the stage. You could just down smash once it's over, just quickly down smash, and it would probably shield poke or hit them before they could do anything, or keep you safe in some way. I've never really seen it happen too much.
Which just happened to me once.
I would just play it by ear. If it's starting to happen, I would just play it by just do whatever comes naturally to you. I wouldn't go into too much depth about that situation.
I'm going to try and find this one where it happened to me, just so we can see it.
Okay. But basically, this is edge guarding Falcon overall. The idea is that the edge is.
Oh, there it
he's always secretly wanting to go to the edge, and he's desperately trying to make you think that he's not. And it's very irritating for them when someone is unrelentingly going, staying near the edge, and it cuts that off.
So they actually want the ledge grab.
They want that edge grab because it's so easy for them to get back onto the stage. They don't want that 20 or 30 frame or whatever it was landing lag.
Yeah, that makes sense because they want that because then they get invincibility as well.
Yeah.
From that, which they can do a lot with.
And if they do get hit at the edge, then they're as good as dead, basically, because if they're doing the up B, that means that they're out of resource. Oh, sorry.
All right, this is where it happens. Do you want to see it? Are you the ones together?
Yeah.
Can I slow it down? No, I don't think so. Here, this one.
So at this point, I would be... See, I think you could have just nailed that one.
So when do you...
Well, first of all, the Falcon kick you could have just hit straight off the bat because he did it right in front of you. If we go back to this one...
Okay. I still just can't believe he gets it.
You kind of bit of a stunned mullet for a moment.
Yeah.
When he does it right in front of you, it's as if, oh wow, I didn't think you were going to do that. Okay, so how could that have worked differently?
But anyway, yeah, I think really the down air is just an option if you're kind of running to the edge and you don't have time to put the nair out.
I think, I would say the nair was your better option in that case because I wasn't convinced that he was low enough underneath the stage for teching to be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like normally teching becomes a much bigger issue when they're really underneath the stage, but he was kind of coming in from a further distance than that. He wasn't coming from directly under.
Yeah.
He was kind of coming slightly below and to the right, like right there is slightly below and to the right for me. So I would have naired that one.
Yeah.
I would only really go for the down air when it's either like a sequence where they keep teching it repeatedly, or when they're really coming from almost, when they're doing that reverse one.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the reverse one is hard to there's less vulnerability frames when Falcon does his legs don't kick over the top of the stage as much as they do for the other version. It's still vulnerable, but it's not as vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so the down air basically makes it impossible to get through because obviously down air is going under the stage.
Yeah, through the stage.
Yeah. So, that's probably a better time to do the down air one is to just pull them out of that super easy tech because that one's they're basically in stage already. That one they're going to tech. So for this one I would have naired, and then for anyone that goes like under the stage, I would down air.
Yeah.
So this is quite a lot of a big flow, much bigger flow chart than what we've discussed so far with Fox, for example.
But the thing is, I know most of this anyway because I play this matchup so much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a matter of like seeing it as like one big. Breaking it up into small parts and being able to recognize which part is about to happen. Is it a high edge guard, mid edge guard, low edge guard? If it's a high edge guard, what's my positioning? Am I ready to throw turnips at him? Is he going to Falcon kick? Can I hit it with a turnip? If he's going to go over, can I hit that with a turnip? If I did hit it with a turnip, can I follow it up? Don't give up the edge. He's going to try and drift to it. Wait until he's past the threshold where he can't possibly go for the edge, and then get ready to drift back and then punish the landing.
Yeah.
If he is coming from the mid height, this one's the easiest. You hold your ground at the edge, the float nair at the edge. You can double nair to get extra damage easily on that one. Coming from below the stage, in the cases like you saw there, that one would still be a nair.
Yeah.
But if they're coming from really deep, like from almost inside or right below the stage, then down there is still an option, and you can do adjust based on their smash DI if they are good at it. Yeah, and also turnip edge guard is a thing.
Yeah. And something that we haven't talked about is there ever a situation where back air, like when they're coming from below the stage, that back air would be better?
In my eyes, back air and nair are almost like interchangeable. They're very similar they're very similar in the way that they hit. They send like very similar. That they send in the same angle. They do the same damage, and they have almost this like very similar like hit power as well.
Yeah.
Basically nair and bear are interchangeable. It's just the additional time of turning around.
Well, I guess you would only do it if for some reason you find yourself facing the wrong way.
Yeah, if for some reason you find... Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be actively going for the bear.
Yeah. Well, it's not as strong, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not as strong.
Yep. Cool.
But yeah, that's basically it. You can do like the soft. You know how I said you can do soft nair into hard nair to the edge guard. You can also do soft bear into hard nair. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just needlessly complicating it. I guess
just making it more difficult for yourself.
Yeah. There's no reason. I mean, I could imagine situations where it might be better, like the way that the hitbox comes out is different.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is very like. You would probably lose more from having thought about it too much in the game and end up messing it up than actually just keeping it simple and just doing the same.
I think once I master these edge guards, if they're like getting around them, even though I'm doing these really well, then it might be something to like assess. I think for now this will be fine.
Yeah, a lot of these extra like frills of playing the character just come naturally. Like once you just understand the mechanics of her really well, it's not something you've actually planned in advance. It's just something that you can immediately do because you've played the character so extensively that you can just do it without really thinking about it. It's just kind of winging it.
Yeah, totally.
Being creative on the spot.
So that covers edge guarding. Pardon?
What did you just say?
I just said, well, that basically covers edge guarding.
It basically does, yeah. And to kind of home it in, I would just go through and watch a good chunk of those videos, maybe watch a few on some days and a few on others or whatever. I've watched them all about five or six times over.
Yeah.
Because there's just like every time I have a moment where I'm like, damn, I didn't really do too well against Falcon, I'll go back and watch it. There's some really good recent
good ideas
ones
and stuff.
Yeah, the recent game of Armada versus Wizrobe is like in the past. Armada has actually had quite close games with Wizrobe, but the last one was just crushing. It's like Armada has just find the matchup just that little bit more.
Yeah,
and it was just his. He just knew what to do. The way he was playing it, it was just incredible.
Was this at Big House or was this something else?
This was at. Let me just find it. At Evo.
Okay. All right, I'll watch that one.
The most recent one that you can find. Yeah, if you can find a recent one, maybe it was this one at Gommel. It wasn't the DreamHack one. Don't watch that one. Watch the other one. Because that's Armada is just suddenly just refine the matchup to a whole nother level. So that kind of brings me to a quick kind of gloss over of what do you do in the neutral. And it's a very interesting one. I feel like the only person who's really answered this, like also come up with the answer for this, is Armada, and it did take him a while to do it. I felt like he was kind of winging it in the neutral, like even in these gravy games, he's kind of just like beating him by virtue of being a better player.
Yeah,
but in the Wizrobe game, the recent one, it really just felt like he had worked out what to do. And I've only briefly kind of studied what the difference was, but the general feel of it is this. Like I'll break it up into a few basics about what to look out for, and then I'll give you like the overall game plan. So the basics to look out for is that Falcon plays quite a basic game against Peach. He's going to try and go for a grab on the ground, or he's going to try and do a neutral air or a knee, like in the air. So typically he just kind of dash dances around for a bit, and then he'll dash grab in, or he'll jump on the spot and use nairs, or he'll jump at you and use nairs, or jump at you and use a forward air. Actually, let's have a look at your game versus Trials right now and see what. Let it run while we're thinking. Let's just have a look at what he's.
More recent one.
Oh yeah, more recent one.
All right, hold on, I'll find it. All right, I'll just add it in. Okay, should be playing now. Oh, almost.
Like how we've done so far, where we've mostly been focusing on punish game. That's pretty much where we're just going to be looking at the moment, is how to get openings rather than like how you might DI X, Y, Z. I'm going to come back to that kind of stuff later. This is mostly going to be about how you can just like get something going. All right, so let's watch what he's doing after you dive. All right, dash dance, aerial. Okay, so he's just jumping at you with aerials at this point. Aerial, dash grab that misses. He tried to read a punish or something. Jumping aerial. Dance, dash, dance, dash, dance, jumping aerial. Okay, so basically, all he's doing is he's just throwing aerials at you, or he's dash dancing and then throwing an aerial at you. It doesn't actually change from that so far. But we'll keep watching, see if that's what.
He does often get like grabs on me at low
Oh, sorry, I
percents.
can't hear you over the game. Let me just turn that down. Yeah. So what did you say?
Oh, he'll often like get grabs of me at low percent sometimes as well, and just combo me and get me to a higher percent.
So it looks like when he's getting the grab, it's when you start to do something first. When he's not actually doing anything, and then like he might be in his little dash dance thing,
Yeah.
and then he goes in. Sorry, you go in first with the dash attack because you're getting a little bit
Antsy.
impatient, or you're getting a little bit nervous, like anxious about the positioning that he's getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And so you throw out the dash attack. I do it as well. Everyone does it. You kind of feel like, I feel like I need to get out of this position. I'm going to throw out a dash attack. And then they just effortlessly move out of the way and then punish you for it.
Yeah.
I know all about that, experience it constantly. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm constantly getting punished for dash attacks and down smash in this match.
Okay, so having a look at the way he played, you can kind of see why down smash, first of all, wouldn't be working too well.
Yeah, well, if he's just jumping and doing aerials, down smash isn't going to work. And Nair
exactly.
I mean, dash attack will only work if I'm super close to him when he jumps.
Yeah. Dash attack, let's start with dash attack first, because this move is really still good in the matchup. It's just you have to be like really careful about how you're doing it. He likes to jump. Dash attack is going to work against him really well at the end of the day. This is why you're landing so many of them. In fact, it's pretty much like you're always starting off with the dash attack because he's so jumpy that he's always just jumping into it. Like there was that part where it was like 2 seconds ago where you hit him with it twice in a row. Hang on, let me just go back to that. I think it was after this. You kind of like dash attacked him with a weak hit twice in a row. It didn't combo or anything.
No, I think it was earlier.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming up soon. 1, 2. Both times. The first time I think he tried to jump. The second time he was just trying to dash dance. So he's like, he's got a very much. I think he's like got a. He's trying to do his own thing. I don't really think he's like interacting with you in a way. He's just kind of doing stuff, and it's if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah. Dash attack is good for catching out when you like mid jump. It catches Nair. It will beat knee because it won't come out in time. Each other, where one will dash attack under and he'll fly over your head. So that's still a win situation because you got out of the position and you got away with the dash attack safely. So that's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
But how do you make this like? How do you know when to dash attack when it's very like you can't really react to it? Like you would have to be very in a zone to hear, because Falcon does make an audible jumping sound, like he makes like a grunt of some description when he does jump. So if you're really on point, you could hear that and then immediately react with a dash attack, and that would almost work all the time. But it's just not like that. That's really hard to do.
Well, the thing that's hard is he's so fast and just runs around the stage the whole time. I've got no idea like where his spacing is going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So dash attack is still going to be part of this, but we're going to take like on the back foot, like put it in the background just a little bit. It's still going to be a massive call out. If you think that he's jumping a lot, then you can start doing it more.
Yeah.
But there is another option that I want to talk about that's really good against Falcon, and that you'll probably see in the matches, the Armada Gravy games, and that is the mid-height float nair. So it's not a float nair that goes across the ground. Yeah. It's at a float nair that it's about the height of, as if you were trying to hit Falcon's head, for example. Like,
okay.
And the reason why you do this kind of one, and so it's going to be like a. Let's see if I can quickly find Armada doing it in a match, because this particular height it just stuffs up everything that Falcon can do. It will beat all of his options, and it doesn't without the massive end lag of dash attack.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this one. I think this is the one I was talking about. It's Rogue versus Armada. I don't think it's going to take us very long to find him doing it. So he does the dash attack to try and call out the jump when he feels like it. See that one, that nair. Okay, so it's the second attack he did, which kind of drives home the point about its usefulness. So what he's doing is he's covering the jump in, because if Falcon tried to jump in on that, he would get hit out of the air. He had tried to run in and grab, he would have got hit by that too. And because it was nair, it's going to get float cancelled. So there's no ending lag to it as well. It's risky for Falcon to try and punish the end lag to it. See, he did a jab straight afterwards as well.
Yeah.
The jab is a really great follow-up to this against Falcon, because Falcon is so greedy for the grab that he'll see you miss an aerial and then he'll want to try and to punish it. You also see Armada is mixing up the jab with the down tilt as well.
Yeah.
That is like safe mode down smash. He's doing it in a similar situation where you might down smash.
Yeah.
But he's doing down tilt instead, because if he misses, then it's not that big a deal. If it connects with Falcon's shield, it's basically unpunishable. So it's like super safe.
Okay.
The reason why down tilt, so just a quick talk about down tilt. Down tilt is like I said, basically safe down smash. But it also becomes much better in the same situations you might down smash against characters that don't get affected by down smash as much. So basically not Fox and Falco. So Sheik, Marth, Falcon get hit really badly by a down tilt, and I'm really glad that he's doing it over and over again to kind of drive home the point about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's doing it after he's done an attack to kind of cover his tracks to prevent the run-in. He's scared of being grabbed, so he's covering his tracks. If he connects with the down tilt, then obviously that's big damage. If the down tilt gets shielded, it can't be interacted with in any way. It's a very frame-safe move.
Okay.
That almost no one can effectively punish if it hits them on their shield. So, yeah, basically what I'm suggesting is these mid-float nairs. Hopefully he does it again in a second, because it looks like he's about to. So that was just a punish. He did one there. That back air is basically a mid-float nair. It's doing the same thing, more or less. It's just falling out. So you can mix that in as well.
Because he did it twice, those back airs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah. So what's so good about that height?
That height is kind of just gets in the way of everything. It's just he can't jump in. You saw how much Thriles was jumping at you all the time?
Yeah.
If you're in the air doing
there was one.
nair,
did you see that?
Yeah. If you're in the air doing that nair, then they can't jump at you because they will get hit. It stays out for so long as well.
Wouldn't that trade with a knee or something though? Wouldn't that be bad?
It won't happen. It very rarely happens that will trade, because nair is quite slow, and you're already out doing the attack. I don't know. But in my experience, it just doesn't work. Falcon leaps in the air, moves in the air so quickly. It's actually it becomes hard for him to space the aerial properly in a way, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because by the time he's jumped into you, he's already so close to you.
Did you see then, Wizzy always went for the ledge with those turnips? Like what you were talking about before, how you're saying, Falcon always wants the ledge.
Yeah.
Here. He has the opportunity to go onto stage, but he keeps trying to fade back.
Yep. That's what Falcon's ultimatum is. He just wants to get to the edge, and he's trying to make he was even still doing like the I'm gonna go in. No, I'm not. Like when his options were so limited anyway.
Yeah.
That's why Armada didn't move. It's because he knew he couldn't reach the platform to begin with, so he didn't move. And then he kind of started to get closer as the. Well, then he didn't have to worry about covering the edge because then Wizzy dropped down below the stage, and then he just had to cover that. But yeah, when you're having a look through these videos, have a look how they're using the float nair. I think float nair is going to be what will mix up your gameplay, because at the moment you're just dash attacking on reaction, like you're trying to catch them with the dash attack, and then when you get into a sticky situation, you down smash. That's currently your game plan again.
Exactly my gameplay.
Yeah,
not like intentional.
So
it's just like kind of happens. I get stressed, and then that just what comes out.
Yeah, this is useful in all matchups. This nair, you'll see it everywhere. It's the mid-height nair. It blocks all of his aerial approach. It's safe, relatively much safer than dash attack. It doesn't lead to maybe as big a punish as dash attack does, but you can still lead into it with things. If you catch him with a nair, you might be able to just grab him on the way down. So nair grab, or you can you'll be able to just react. And when you do it a little bit more, or when you watch these videos and you're seeing the type of nair that I'm talking about, you'll start to see what kind of follow-ups are possible. But yeah, you can back it up with jabs and down tilt if it connects on their shield to cover your space. I think that's going to make the biggest impact. Down smash. As for down smash, try and only use it when you somehow bunch together for some reason, like you're right next to each other, and usually it's when he's in shield for some reason, or you just find yourself close and you need to use it as a panic. But don't try and proactively use it in this matchup. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah, so it's just like a reaction when you're in like super close quarters to each other.
Yeah, like let's have a look to see if at all or when Armada down smashes in this particular game, because you'll probably find the only time he does.
I don't know if he even did it in the last match at all.
Yeah, well, he also did the nair I was talking about right off the start. Let's just go back there as well.
Okay.
That nair is exactly what I'm talking about. He covered it with both jab and down tilt. Also, on turnips, they're good. They're great in this matchup. Unfortunately, you never get the chance to pull them. It's almost like a...
Yeah. Well, it's so hard to pull them. I was even trying to pull, like, safe turnips against Thralls last night, but I'd still get punished because he can just travel so far.
Yeah, I'd just not bother. Don't bother unless you've hit them away. Armada did it at the beginning because there was space so far apart that he could do it. Yeah.
So I'm noticing with like Armada's mid float, nairs and bears, he's not holding the float very long, if at all. He's just like going into it and then dropping straight away.
Yeah, he's probably gauging how long he thinks he'll need to hold that float for. So if he sees that it's probably not going to be successful, then he'll probably cut the float short. But if he feels like if he floated in just that little bit more, he might get something, then he might hold on to the float for a little bit longer. So you'll probably see varying float lengths, if you know what it like, how long he'll sustain the nair for versus like very short ones, because you don't want to be kind of a sitting duck as well, where you're just floating all the time. Because if you start floating all the time, then you're going to start getting hit out of the air with up airs and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that happened to me. There was a match against Thralls. I was kind of floating off the edge, waiting, trying to think about how to get in, and he just jumped off and kneed me.
Yeah. Well, this kind of comes down to the overall game plan of how you're going to be playing against Falcon. The first thing is that you'll notice this is a bad example. Let's go to a not Pokemon Stadium stage because it's just irritating me watching the transformations.
I hate the transformations.
He's going to just choose Stadium twice, isn't he? Let's go back to the beginning, the first game. And what you'll notice is a general trend for Armada to be on him the whole game. He never runs away. He's always kind of there. He's always near him, making him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so that Falcon can never really... Because, like I said before, when Falcon jumps, he goes far. So he can either go straight up or he can go far. He doesn't really have much of an in-betweener. Okay. So if you're close to him all the time, he can't really do any of his running jumps. See how Wizrobe, when Armada is close, Wizrobe has no option of that kind of long jump.
Yeah.
Because Armada is too close to him. So he has to kind of go for these... He's trying to dash dance away and go for these other options, and they're just not as good. They're not as threatening. And even when he comes down, Armada will evade him for a moment, I bet, and then he'll go back to being close to him again. So he uses a turnip, and then now he's going to stay close. He'll stick on him for now. And so the way that you do this is, first of all, you have to dash dance within his range to make it so that he can't just run in. Like, just how he's making it hard for you to go in, you want to make it hard for him to go in.
Yeah.
But also you vary your ground and your air approach, and you keep switching it up to make it even more difficult. Armada's doing air, and then he'll do ground, like dash tag, and then he'll go back to the air, and then he'll do another.
He did do one.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what he's doing. He's mixing up the air and the ground all the time to make it like so that he's just not shield grabbing everything that he's doing. Because if you become too predictable with just dash attacking all the time, they're just going to sit and shield all the time and grab everything that you do.
Well, it's the same as you just nair all the time. They're going to learn how to predict that as well.
Yeah, they're going to start up airing you out of the float and stuff like that. So it's almost like Armada goes for the air when he's on the ground and then stays on the ground when he's in the air. Like it's almost like you counterplay the opposite of what they're doing, because if they're in the air, then you can shield
totally.
Like on reaction. So if they're already in the air, then you can shield or try and dash attack on reaction.
Yeah.
But if they're staying on the ground, then that gives you the chance to like try for a neutral air or even a forward air. You'll see that Armada does go for the forward air sometimes when he feels like they're playing too passively and they've given up. Like they're giving him the chance to jump in the air and do a forward air, he'll close in on that, because forward air is still like super strong in the air. It's like one of their best options, but Falcon limits that with his ability to react and up air out of it. But if they're playing too passively, then it gives him the opportunity to go in with that. So yeah, you'll see his stickiness to Falcon. He kind of sticks on him.
He doesn't just go over to the edge of the stage and give Falcon the whole stage to play with.
Yeah, he's always just kind of there, and he's there because this is kind of Armada in general, and how Peach can be played super well is that you're always there, so that you can always just punish anything. Like you're always in range of just being able to quickly duck in the moment they make a mistake, and be able to punish them for it.
Yeah.
So basically, the introduction of neutral air into your game will change this matchup for you. Plus the edge guarding sequence. Once you've now that you know this kind of thoughts, having a look through this matchup, having a look through the Gravy Armada videos, you'll start to see how he's putting it together. He did it twice in a row there just to kind of drive home the point, and he got a forward air there as well. But that was kind of reaction forward air. These bears are basically the nairs that I was talking about. That could have been better. That was the lazy edge guard from Armada. Like in that edge guard right there, for example. Get back to it.
Yeah.
That one. There was no reason for him to try and do that nair, because if he had just waited, he would have just been able to continue floating backwards and naired him anyway.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
He would have landed. Do you mean? Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
He would have landed, and he could have just naired him after that.
Yeah. So that was probably the only bad play I saw in this game, more or less, was that was a bit of an easy one. But Otherwise, this is a great example of how you should be positioning yourself. What kind of move choices do you have? Like, we didn't find a down smash in the end, did we?
No, we did. There was a couple, but they were more like whiffed down smashes when like he was on the platform or something like that. There wasn't any that actually hit, I don't think.
Yeah, you almost want to cut it out. But again, you have to keep in mind that he's not doing it, but there is still the threat of it that Wizzy is obviously avoiding. Whereas when you're versing Thriles, he might expose himself to down smash more often. Yeah. So just because you're not seeing Armada do it doesn't mean that you won't do it yourself, because you're not versing Wizrobe. Do you know what I mean? You'll come to points where both of you will end up clumped together, where he might have overshot a move, or you blocked an attack, or you crouch cancelled something, whatever, and you can down smash that. It's just Wizzy's not letting himself open to that kind of punishment very often. So yeah, you'll still.
The amount that I use down smash is so bad. And I'm always getting punished with stomp or knee.
I think even if you kind of do a soft ban, I would be careful of soft banning a move in your head, because it can be easy to just like never use it again after that. I feel like I did the soft ban on dash attack for myself, where I just stopped doing the move for a period of time because I just kind of either was getting punished for it too much, or I was just looking at different options. Maybe I got obsessed with low float nair for some reason. And then I just lost all the goodness of dash attack because I just, for some reason, had trained myself not to use it anymore.
Yeah.
So I would be careful of soft banning a move in a way. But it might be worth it to try and restrict your down smash usage a little bit the next time you get to verse Thriles, or the next time you practice against Falcon, just to get yourself more practice with the other options. Because you've had plenty of time to practice down smash now.
It's a really technical move. You've got to like flick down on the C stick. It's really hard to input it.
Down smash is a judgment move. You have to judge when it's the appropriate time to use the move. Whereas float nair does have a technical requirement behind it.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea to get some practice in on that.
Something that I wanted to touch on is, like, if I get grabbed at low percents, often I'll just get comboed, grab, down throw, into another grab, or into up air or something like that.
Huh?
When Thralls grabs me,
yep,
I just seem to get comboed hard and can't get out of it.
Well, I mean, if you think about so having a look at all that we've seen so far, what did Armada do?
Not get grabbed.
Yeah, basically. I didn't even remember him getting grabbed for this entire thing. Like, that's pretty crazy in and of itself, that he was able to play. Like, when I verse Falcon, I feel like I'm just getting down throwed repeatedly. But then I'm like, all right, well, what does Armada do? And then I go and watch it, and then I'm just like having to play his videos at double speed just to get to the point where he gets grabbed. Because he's just not getting grabbed to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of step one, I guess, is prevention rather than what you do when you do get grabbed. But when you do get grabbed, I would recommend to just go down and away, which is a hard angle for him to cover, and then maybe sometimes mixing it up with in. It's you just kind of have to mix it up and make him work for it.
Okay.
Down and away if you're not sure.
Okay.
Down and away, they have to do the run and they have to try and space it correctly. Whereas if you go straight up, they just jump and press forward A or C stick forward or whatever the hell they like to.
It's just easy. So down and away is the best DI.
Down and away is the best place to start.
Yeah, I know that. I remember reading something about if you do down and away, you can get out of knee.
Can air dodge it. Yeah, you can double jump out. At high percent, say if you're on 130 odd percent, you can just start double jumping out of the down throw knee if you're using down and away.
Yeah.
They do have the counterplay of using up air.
Yeah.
But sometimes you might end off stage and they might not have that room to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so down and away.
Most of the time you'd rather get up air than need anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Because if you DI the up air correctly, you should be able to recover very high, and then like it can be hard to recover high against Falcon because up air is very easy to land on Peach, but I would rather get up aired 3 times in a row and still be living rather than getting kneed dying like 70% or something dumb at the edge of a stage.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's something you need to learn as Peach is the patience to get hit over and over again, especially like when you play Marth and you try to get down.
Absolutely.
And you just
I'm kind of like, because I verse Marth so often, I'm just so used to it. It doesn't even bother me anymore when I'm just getting hit. In fact, it's getting to a point now where you're trying to get hit. Like, oh, I'm not in a very good position. Maybe if I just deliberately get hit at this point, I can get myself at even higher, and then I can get back safely. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're recovering low against Mars, there's a threat of actually dying to something like down tilt.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're recovering in high, then that threat is just going to be up air, which is probably not going to kill until ages later. So I'll often kind of position myself in such a way where it's just like, well, I'll just take the hit. Yeah. And then I'll DI it higher, and then I'll be able to get back safely. So getting hit is not the end of the world sometimes.
Yeah, I think that was something that I learned a few months ago. Was like, if you just don't get tilted when you're just getting juggled by Marth or by Falcon, and you just keep trying to get back, like
if anything, they're the ones that get tilted because they're the ones that are frustrated that you're not dead yet.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, I'm hitting you over and over, and you're still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
People say it, especially on Dreamland. People are like, "Oh my god, how are you not dead yet?" Because it's like 200%, and they've hit me with something, and I'm still living.
Yeah. It's because Peach has a really good weight and full speed combination. Of course, the recovery is ridiculous. So, it's funny when you get hit away and then you just recover to the stage by just jumping. Like, you don't even have to use float or parasol or anything. You just get back because your double jump is so long.
Yeah.
And covers so much distance, and you have so much aerial drift that you can just you can just jump back onto the stage. Her weight is like outside of like Falcon Samus. It's extremely good, and I don't know. It's just really obnoxious.
I thought Peach was one of the more lighter characters.
Well, the of the good characters, so going down the tier list, like Fox or Falco are very light, much lighter than Peach. I think Fox is about the same weight as Kirby or something like that.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Very, very light. What is it? Marth is lighter than Peach. And even lighter in power by a few points. Sheik is the same as Peach. They're the same weight class. And
Jigs is lighter.
Yeah, Jigs is like the second lightest character in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Then Falcon's heavier, right?
Yeah, Falcon is the Samus is obviously extremely is heavy, and also floaty, so she lives forever. Falcon's got the heavy fast fall combination, so it's like really hard to kill him off the top, and with strong DI, it can be hard to kill him off the sides as well. But his recovery's garbage, so it makes up for it. Whereas Samus is like quite a good recovery, but I don't think Samus is
so boring. Samus's recovery. At least with Peach, she has a huge recovery, but she does it quickly. Samus is just waiting there for ages.
Yeah, exactly. And also it's kind of like Peach can be vulnerable against certain characters while she's recovering, if she's recovering at certain positions. But first of all, Samus, when she's recovering, can't recover in the same way that Peach can high. Peach can go high and then float over the top of the stage and then drop down, whereas Samus can't do that. And also Samus can be intercepted while she's recovering with her bombs. Like some characters like Puff and Peach can go out and hit her, or some characters can jump out and hit her like Falcon. Characters can throw stuff at her while she's recovering, like lasers and needles and turnips and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways to disrupt her recovery, and that make it so that she's not. I don't think her recovery is as good as Peach's.
Yeah.
I think her weight her combination of floatiness and weight is better than Peach's, of course, but I don't think her recovery is as good as easy to get back on with as Peach's.
Yeah. All right.
But that's kind of like the basics of how to get started with Falcon. It's going to be a lot about getting that nair in. I think it's all about the nair to start with. Once you get that nair in, you'll see a.
What's going to be the best way to practice this nair?
This is a good question. Okay, so you want to. Okay, so the critical part about this tech, this particular tech, is getting that fast fall. And so the best way is if you go back to the videos that I had on my channel. I made a video of this one. Let me just bring it up for a sec. I'll link you to the one that I did that was specifically for this kind of thing.
Are you going to put it in watch together?
Yeah, I might do that. Just make sure this is the right one.
You know how I've been doing a lot of practice against like level 1 Fox?
Yep. Have you found it?
Yeah, good. I actually find it really useful. Like looking back on my matches where we had just talked about that and I've only put in like a tiny bit of practice into it versus now, even just like the dash attacks back and forth when you know you can't get anything else. Like there was games I'm watching and I'm like, I could have dash attacked there and got a follow up. Whereas now, like I'll get that more often. Yeah. And so I've noticed my punish game like improved. Like
I did notice that there was that one moment in the trials game where you did get multi-dash attacks off, and it really was the only option you had because you couldn't run up an aerial or anything like that because he was too far away.
Yeah, I couldn't grab either. I think I got 3 in a row at one point.
Yeah, that was pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so I found the one. I put it in here. Let's bring it up. So I'm glad I made this. I should probably get around to adding more to them. I got a bit lazy for a moment there, but I'm glad I have quite a few of them out already that get some basics idea. So this is to practice it without the fast fall to begin with, what you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And then this next part, so what starts at 17 is a good way to start practicing your float cancelled nairs is to start from a high height and then fast fall that and then lower it just a little bit, because all of these heights are most of these heights are quite relevant, especially the lower ones. But in there is the mid height that you're looking for, and this one, this one you can just do without the turnip, basically. Yeah. The turnip was there just to demonstrate that you can do the aerials while holding a turnip. This is how you can practice it.
I remember this one because when I was practicing this, the turnip's good because then you know that you've got it in float. Because if you do it outside of float, you throw the turnip.
Throw the turnip. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. These float heights, you can mix them up. You can do lower ones. You can do higher ones. You don't want to do ones that are going onto the platform probably because obviously that's probably not what you're going to be looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good way to practice would be to just go left and right across the stage and do that kind of thing. Another way would be to, I think in MacD's Peach Guide, he said about putting the handicap on like a Bowser or something like that.
Yeah, I've done this a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do that kind of thing as well. You can even just put a level 1 Falcon and just like kill him with nairs only to kind of drive home the point. Just go on FD and just nair him repeatedly across the stage in that way, and making sure that you're getting the fast fall. I can't emphasize the fast fall enough because there is such a big difference in the safety of the move when you have that fast fall. If you're not fast falling, you're just kind of leaving yourself wide open.
Yeah.
So the fast fall is what you need to be the most critical on yourself with to make sure that you're getting it. Yeah. And also, when you're practicing this against Falcon with these nairs, when you do start hitting them in different ways, you might get the soft hit, you might get the strong hit. have a look and get a feel of what you think you would realistically be able to follow that up with. Can I get a dash attack off that? Is that a grab? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the CPU Falcon is actually not that bad at practicing edge guarding against. It tends to recover quite high from memory, so you get a decent practice at doing the Nair edge guard as well. It's not that terrible.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So Nairing Falcon across the stage and this one's quite a bit to absorb. I've thrown quite a lot at you, but I think it's because I already felt like you had some of it down pat to begin. Well, not down pat, but I think the basis of it was there to begin with.
Yeah, well, most of the edge guard stuff I know, but there's like a few tweaks in there, like the soft nair to hard nair, and sort of stuff that I can mix up and practice. And then, yeah, like the neutral game, practicing that fast falling nair is really like my practice for the week, as well as like watching the Armada gravy sort of stuff.
Yeah, just keep alternating. Like play for about play for some period of time, and then just go back and watch it again, just trying to reabsorb it, and then try it again, just to keep your mind fresh on why and when and how Armada is doing it.
Yeah. It's good to have that resource.
This is what I love about Armada, because he's so consistent. I can make these claims about what he does without even checking. And then we go and we can find examples of it like instantly, because he's just that like his game plan is so prepared and consistent that I it's great.
Yeah, well, it works, right? Peach has limited options and he just uses them perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Falcon has very limited. Like, if you think about what Falcon's options are, they're good, but they're very limited. Like, they're quite limited as well. He's basically just trying to grab you or hit you with an aerial.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a dash attack to go in with. He doesn't have very good kind of fail safes if his aerials miss or if he hits your shield. Yeah. So if you shield an attack from Falcon, they love to do this jab afterwards.
Yeah.
But if you just wait out the jab, then you can just grab that as well. Like, don't get scared by this silly pseudo pressure of Falcon's knee into a jab.
Okay, yeah, because I've just been rolling out of that, the knee jab. Like, it often hits me, and then I wise onto it, and then I just end up rolling away from it. But if I just hold it out, then I can grab them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably if you can find an example of that happening in any of the videos that you watch as well. Like I said, I'm not too focused on defensive options right now, but if you do see that come up, then it'll be curious to just have a look and see how Armada reacts to it. I reckon he goes for the grab, because Armada is very good at being able to still get shield grabs even at the top level by being really, really alert on when they've left themselves open, when their strings aren't perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to have a look at that. But try not to overwhelm yourself with information, because then you'll end up you'll end up playing worse than you already are against Thralls the next time, because you're trying to do too much. So just add the nair. The top priority is adding that nair in.
Yeah. Well, I think you said last week, work on one thing at a time, get good at it, and then expand from there. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what we'll do. Sweet.
Cool. By the way, I am always watching all of your videos, so I've seen them all so far. Even though we only have so much time, I would love to be able to go through all of them, but there's only so much you'll get out of it anyway, because a lot of the time you already know what you did wrong. You can just immediately see it and you're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But also not all of it's relevant at any point. Like, you could either rip it to shreds and be like, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, but you won't learn anything from that.
No, well, that's the thing. I can only practice so much. Like, I'm trying to do an hour a day. Yeah. But I can only practice so much in that time that, if you give too much, then as you said, there's so much, and then you don't, it doesn't fuse into your game is probably the best way I would describe it. And so when you actually go to play against someone, it's not all there. Yeah. Like, you've been practicing all this stuff and you can kind of do it, but you can't do it smoothly enough. And then you just do it at the wrong time and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you're actually in a really good position. You're coming into the game with a blank slate, basically. You don't have any baggage like I did. And so you're building yourself from the ground up. What I had to do was I played the game for a while, non-competitively or competitively, just doing my own thing, making it all up, learning all these weird and bad habits and, suboptimal plays, but kind of drilling them into myself because I wasn't being like forced to. I was still winning like in my area for not having to do it. And then when I picked the game up again and everyone's a lot better, I have all these bad habits, all these like little tricks and like overcomplicating things and everything like that. There was like no foundation or anything like that. And now I had to like unlearn things and unlearning a lot of things. Like you might be thinking, I down smash too much, dash attack too much. Imagine if you had all these moves that you were doing too much of, like, I use turnips in such a specific way too often and do these weird kind of aerial maneuvers and stuff like that. And you have to go through and weed them all out. It's a massive hassle. You don't want to get to that point. So
a few months ago, because I would only wave dash with one trigger, which makes wave dashing out of shield hard. And one of my mates was like, and I had just learnt and like gotten half decent at it. I'm like, I don't want to learn with the other trigger now. And he's like, dude, I've been like using one trigger for 4 years. It's so hard for me. He's like, do it now. You'll go backwards for a couple of months, but it'll be so worth it. And it was the best advice.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my friends as well, he has the same issue with the one trigger, and he just will flat out refuse to do anything about it, and so he just doesn't do it. He just does not wave dash out of shield.
Yeah,
so
that's dumb.
Like it's just not good. Like I have unlearned or relearned things myself. It is hard, but there is a way and there's a process to do it, and it's easier when you don't. Like when you're just starting, because you don't have so much baggage to begin with. Your baggage is down smash less and dash attack less or something like that. That's an easy fix, because once you start introducing new stuff that you know that you probably should be doing, or that you've got really good examples for, like Armada's games, you'll be able to input that, and then you'll have a bigger game already.
That's what I found. If I try and just not do dash attack, it's not good, because I get stressed and I feel like it's my only option. But if I find something else that I can do instead, then I find myself doing it if it's better. And so then like dash attack just disappears.
Yeah. And don't forget at the foundation of all of this, like the dash attacks and the neutral air, is the dash dancing as well. When you watch the videos, you'll see Armada is extensive dash dance game. It's really impressive. So keep an eye out on that one as well. Yeah, just because you don't want to just start going, okay, I know how to do this nair now, and then just run at them and nair repeatedly.
Yeah, well, that's going to be slightly predictable, isn't it?
Yeah. So there obviously there's ways for him to beat that too. Yeah. And of course, nair down smash is still a thing. You can, if you nair and they shield it, you can still down smash. You can jab as well if you feel like the grab is incoming.
Yeah, jab or down tilt. I think Armada used.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
But there you go. I think I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. I've got enough to think about for the week. Thanks, Hank.
Absolutely.
Man. All right. Well, have a good night.
All right. You too.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Until next time.
Okay. Bye.
All right. See you later, man.
All right. Well, I hope that lesson was helpful to you. It was definitely helpful to me in terms of this matchup. I have found that playing against the level 1 Fox and practicing my punish game, the stuff we've been going through, has made me better at the Fox matchup. I still have a really long way to go, but Thralls is someone that I play against the most out of anyone that I play against. And, I used to beat him and now he's beating me basically every single time. So it's really good to go through some of this stuff and to learn how to edge guard better and to introduce some new things into my neutral game so that I can be more unpredictable, I can have better options and things like that. So hopefully this will lead to me winning some games. I'll be practicing this week. I'll be practicing those fast falling nairs. I'll be doing those nairs moving across the stage holding a turnip to make sure I'm doing them properly. I'm also going to watch some of those Armada vs Gravy that playlist. I'm sure if you just search on YouTube Armada vs Gravy, you'll be able to find it. And I'll probably also practice my nairs against either a level 1 Falcon. That's probably what I'll do. Otherwise, you can put it against Bowser and put the handicaps on, put Bowser on 9, yourself on 1, set knock back to 0.5 or something like that. I can't remember what the option is, But yeah, I could do that as well just to practice, because there's slightly different timing when you've actually hit the character versus when you haven't hit them. So, but I'll probably just practice against a level 1 Falcon. So anyway, I've got my practice for the week. I do have a Down Smash tournament, which is the one I run on Tuesday nights on next week. And no doubt I'll have to face Thralls, or at least some sort of Captain Falcon in bracket. So we'll see how we go. And until next time, keep calm and play Melee.